The Venetian, beautiful place here. I'm here
Beautiful.
with Mighty Joe from Gym Life Media. I'm
Hey,
Monica Brancho, and I'm so excited to get to speak to a very good friend of mine, a very accomplished doctor, surgeon, and author. His new book, Cutthroat. We have a lot to talk about, Doc.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever you want to talk about, I'm here.
Love it.
I'm here for you.
There's so many. This man is so accomplished.
Yes.
He's got a military background. He has saved people for years and years and years with back surgeries, and I can't even speak on him to the extent of what he's done for other people. And just like everyone we've talked to that has such a passion for other people,
Yes.
this man does. And I've known him for quite a few years now. I got to have the honor of training his daughter when she was about 16.
Oh, nice.
I taught her all about squeezing her glutes,
That's true.
activating her glutes. And I've known the family, amazing family, like no better than Dr. Cyr and his family. I can't speak enough highly about them.
I'm excited. Excited to get to know you.
So Doc,
Yeah,
will
thank
you share with Mighty Joe here some of your background and how we got to be where you are now today?
Sure. Well, initially I was an Air Force doctor. Like Monica said, I was in the Air Force for 14 years, active duty. During that time, I spent 2 tours of duty in Iraq during the Operation Enduring Freedom. So I was deployed during the heat of the battle, and unfortunately that comes along with multiple traumas and a lot of our injured troops. My primary job was patching them up. My foundation as a surgeon was orthopedic surgery, and then I did a fellowship at the Mayo Clinic in spine surgery. So my capacity in the military when I was active duty as a staff surgeon was the chief of spine surgery for the Air Force. So I was chief of spine surgery at Wilford Hall and for the entire Air Force. I was the consultant to the Pentagon and the Surgeon General of the Air Force. And I was an academic professor as well. So we taught our orthopedic residents at Wilford Hall, the only orthopedic residency program in the nation. And then we did level 1 trauma. And then we deployed a lot to Iraq. So we were heavy in those deployments, taking care of our wounded troops and the nationals as well when they were injured.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a resume, actually.
Right? I mean, and he says it so fast. Like, every one of our guests has been so distinguished and accomplished. And they say these things so fast, and you're like, wait, there's so much meat to the story, right?
I know,
there's
and it's
so
like,
much
where do we
meat.
want to start? Because, you joined the military, but it was always your goal then to be a surgeon.
Oh yeah, so I was a college athlete. I played football, and I was always going to be a doctor, not necessarily a surgeon. My goal to be a surgeon really started at a really young age. So I wanted to be a doctor from the time I was 4, but I wasn't sure what specialty.
Sure.
But I was a college running back, and I tore my ACL, and I had my ACL reconstructed in my freshman year of college, and I was so amazed at my ability to return. And I was a pretty big running back. I was about 220, and I ran a 4.5 after surgery.
Wow.
And so after surgery, I was able to get my speed almost back to what it was. And I was so amazed and impressed by the ability of the orthopedic surgeons to return my function that I immediately knew at that point that orthopedics had to be my specialty.
Love it.
And so I went into orthopedics thinking that I was going to be a sports doctor.
Yep.
And I got into the field, and in my 3rd year of residency, I realized that it wasn't exactly what I wanted for my life or my lifestyle, and I actually was more drawn to spine surgery just because of the complexity and the intricacy of the surgery. And I felt like spine surgery had a lot of growth potential still. There's a lot of things in spine surgery that are still evolving. We're getting better at it. I think orthopedic surgery, obviously technology will always improve and our techniques will as well, but I think there was much more growth potential in spine surgery. So I literally was drawn to it because of the complexity and because no one else wanted to do it. I felt like, and I knew that very few people do it well. Yep. And so I wanted to be one of those doctors that changed that stereotype about spine surgery resulting in a 50% failure rate. So I really devoted myself at that point, and that's why when I decided to do a fellowship in spine surgery and to subspecialize, I went to the Mayo Clinic, which is the #1 program in the world, and I was blessed enough to be accepted as the only fellow at that time in 2003. So I did my fellowship. I trained from 2003 to 2004, and I was automatically given the title of chief of spine surgery, which is a pretty big position to fill as a brand new staff surgeon. But I was ready for the challenge, and I had amazing training. I was trained by the best surgeons in the world, both from a personal perspective but also from a technical perspective. So I came in very, very well prepared to do it, and I just kept challenging myself to get better.
I'm watching Monica smile over here because there's a proud friend sitting to your left right now.
Oh yeah.
Just like,
We love
resume.
Monica. Yeah.
And you probably heard it more than once, and it's fascinating. But really, what I love the most about that is, spine surgery is very unique. because a lot of us that are in athletics and have been athletics all of our lives are very aware of the hurdles and the obstacles of spine surgery and the recovery rates, and having these issues where you're right, it's an evolving science still, and it sounds like you're leading the game.
Well, I'm trying. I'm here to serve God. That's one of the things that's a big passion for me, is to make sure that my life is a life of purpose, and that I'm serving others, serving God by serving His children. And I know that if there's people out there devoted to doing great work in God's name, that we can really accomplish amazing things. So my fellowship and my training and my time in the military, I never steered away from the challenges, and I've always done the big complex surgeries. And then I began a practice outside of the military. My wife is a brilliant woman, so she helped me start a practice. We began practicing, and then I left the military after 14 years on active duty in 2010. So since then, our practice in the civilian world has grown. And then I kind of branched out and did a lot of other things, because I think there's a lot of things to accomplish.
Sure.
We have a short time.
Don't pigeonhole yourself, right?
I have a lot of energy, so I want to use it.
So one of the things that's so neat, like we were kind of talking to the other lady here, Corey, her and her husband, they've been together a long time. They work together, and they have a beautiful relationship. And that's one thing with him and with Dr. Cyr and Leanne, their relationship is so honest and beautiful, and when you're with them, you feel the love and the respect and the honor of them together with their children. And it's just, I have yet to be around other families like that just make you want to, look at me, make you want to be in that kind of family and relationship. So I'm so I just love this family. All of them, they're all so special. They're your sons, Colton, I get to spend some time with them just recently, a couple months ago, because Doc's got another business that he's now doing as well. This man, he does not stop. So
by the sounds of it, no.
Right, spine surgeon, accomplished all this, military and everything, and now he's in cosmetic surgery as well. And he has a very specialty orthosculpt, the whole business, what he's doing now, coupled with. So he's in surgery almost every day, right now? It's like 4 days a week you're in surgery?
4 days a week, at least.
And you're like, what?
Sometimes 5.
Where do you find the time? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's just nonstop, and always this humble, he has time for everybody. No matter what your question, he's just there ready to talk, ready to share, answer your question. Like, he's amazing person, and I love to see how his family has, how they all are so tight together. And I know it starts with a father and a mother that serve the Lord, serve one another, and have the right chain down to their children. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
I'm so honored to know this family.
But
can you speak on the next part of what you're doing
right,
now
because I'm thinking to myself, okay, where did you even think about coming up with that?
How did you have time to go study for that while you're operating on backs and
what was the driver behind that?
Well, there's a lot of things, really. One of the first things that made me think about it was way back in my residency when I was considering not doing sports orthopedics. I thought briefly about cosmetic surgery because I've always been really focused on the athletic build. I've been an avid reader of magazines. I've known about Monica since we were both kids. We're about the same age. She's about I think she's a year older than me, but I've known about her through mutual friends, and I know the community of bodybuilding. I've read every muscle magazine you can imagine.
Right.
That's what I did when I was from the time I was 13 until I was, recent. But I knew about the world of bodybuilding, and I love the aesthetics that you could attain through building your body. So I've always been focused on fitness, and that was also perfect for my attention on fitness as an athlete.
Sure. Yep.
And so when I started to think about it, I thought, well, cosmetic surgery. And then I thought, well, no, let me do spine first. And then spine was perfect for my personality. But as the years have gone on, believe it or not, I do a lot of anterior surgeries approaching to the spine from the front.
Sure.
And a lot of my surgeries are anterior, posterior, because the disc of the spine is in the front.
Right.
So when discs are torn and unstable, in order to replace them the best way is from the front. And a lot of people don't realize that. A lot of what you'll see in the community of spine surgery is most of the surgeries are done from the back because it's a quicker surgery. You make one incision, everything's done from the back, but the disc is in the front. So when you look at the results in the literature about who has the best results, it's patients who have had a fusion from the front and then stabilization from the back.
Yeah.
And in the process of doing these anterior surgeries, over the years, I've been a spine surgeon for almost 20 years. I've had, countless patients, guys and girls alike, ask me, hey, while you're in there, doc,
why don't you
take a little bit off, tighten me up a little bit. And because they asked me so frequently, I started to think about could I do something in addition to what I already do to help my patients? And a lot of it was functional, because when your back is under the stress of a heavy abdomen, or if you've had had kids, or you've lost dramatic weight and you have a heavy, we call it a pannus of tissue hanging over your belly. That puts a severe amount of stress on your back. And so you could be fit and have loose tissue or heavy abdominal tissue, loose skin from carrying babies, and no matter what you do, you can't get that to improve.
No matter how much collagen you take, right?
Exactly. You can work out, you can take whatever supplements, and it's never going away. And so I started to really give it real thought. And over the course of the years of being asked that question repetitively, I thought one day, you know what, I'm going to do it. And that was one of the impetus. The other was because medicine is, as you might know as a patient, all of us have family members or we've been patients ourselves. Medicine is a very frustrating business. And when you're in the world of medicine and you're trying to deliver the best care for your patients, and you're constantly under the thumb of regulatory committees like the government, unfortunately,
the biggest one of
insurance, or insurance companies whose focus is not outcomes but incomes, they're trying to generate more profit. And as a physician who's focused on doing what's right, and your focus is outcome, not income, you're at odds with the people controlling the money. And even though we don't work for the insurance companies, they dictate what we get paid. So I started to get more frustrated with the limitations as a surgeon. Peer reviews from doctors who weren't spine surgeons, doctors who weren't practicing medicine, doctors who weren't in Texas where I practice. And I started to feel like we're in a position where as medicine starts to decline and our ability to take proper care of our patients gets more and more challenged, I need to have a plan to do something to be able to still help people with their bodies, their fitness, and their function outside of an insurance-based medicine. So I did it at one. I called around the country. I got everybody's opinion in the world of cosmetic surgery, who would be the best person to learn from. And I was given the name.
In his free time.
Wherever that's at.
One name repetitively, a guy who was the president of the American Board of Cosmetic Surgery. His name is Dr. Wilbur Ha. And I called him one day, and I was able to convince him to take me under his wing. And I did a 2-year fellowship with him. I did a formal fellowship because I didn't want to be a guy who learned on the side. I didn't go to the Mayo Clinic as a spine surgeon and then I want to do a course on the weekend. I wanted to actually learn the science and the art of cosmetic surgery. So I devoted 2 years to learning with Dr. Ha. And after that 2 years, I became the world's first orthopedic surgeon who's also fellowship trained in cosmetic surgery.
It's like I'm thinking, are you 80? Because I'm thinking of all this time. But
I'm 51.
It seems like a natural evolution then to really kind of what you're involved in, where you came from as a kid and a football player and a guy that flipped through magazines.
And the other thing is, when I was in my fellowship, even Dr. Ha recognized the knowledge of an orthopedic surgeon when it comes to the anatomy of the body is superior to any other specialty. Our focus is on the muscle, the skeleton, and all the overlying tissue. So anything from the skin to the bone, we know that anatomy better than anyone. I don't care if you're a plastic surgeon or you're a cosmetic surgeon from a different background. Orthopedic surgeons training as engineers of the body and of the musculoskeletal system, we know the shape of the muscle, we know where the muscle begins, we know where the muscle ends, we know what innervates the muscle, we know the blood supply to the muscle. When we fix a bone, we have to know all of that to get to the bone. So when I started training and learning the techniques of cosmetic surgery, I realized there was a little bit of a gap in the knowledge of how the muscle should look when people are doing high definition liposuction. And we're seeing a lot of unnatural looking results. People that don't have any definition anywhere except their abdomen, or bricks of fat on the abdomen that look like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle abdomen. So I realized that there was a gap there because there was a lack of understanding of the body, how the body should look. And so I started using my knowledge as an orthopedic surgeon and as an avid reader of bodybuilding magazines. And actually I have a comic book as well where I had to draw all my characters, and of course they have to look like superheroes. So, and my comic book was focused on STEM as well.
Wait a minute. You actually publish a comic book as well?
I have 7. I have 7 issues.
This family.
That's amazing.
Non-stop, their children, what their kids are doing. We could go on with accomplishment. And one of the things I love about Dr. Cyr is that he advises and lovingly trains his children to be excellent and in a way that is honoring to other people still. And so, and he's not just saying that, but he's demonstrating it in his own life. And I think it's really remarkable that he has continued to not just tell his kids, go do what I'm telling you to do, but I'm going to show you how
Yes.
to continue being excellent, advancing where you are, having goals, and continuing, what you were dreaming of doing, and not just stopping because you've accomplished this, but having a new goal. And I mean, the whole family, they've got, you've got the shoe thing, all the different nonprofits.
It sounds like we have like a reality TV show we need to do with you and your family. That might be on the list with this guy, honestly, at this point.
The problem is, I'll tell you this, knowing reality shows, is that there's drama, but there's not enough, like...
Oh, right. Oh, gotcha.
You guys have had stuff, but the way you handle it is not the typical people on reality shows that are like...
Well, I guess what I'm saying is we could probably all benefit from watching, Doctor and his family.
People are gonna be like, okay, they had something go wrong, but wow, they handle it really well, and that's not what the drama reality shows want. They want you to be like falling apart and, oh my gosh, my life is over. And these guys, they're like, they pray about
opposite.
it. They come together and they're like, how can we make this better? And how can we're going to walk through it as a family and be better for it.
I got a couple questions just kind of through all of what you've been talking about. Was it always the plan to kind of exit gracefully from the military? Was there ever a point that what I'm asking is, you've got what you kind of wanted out of it, and you felt like moving forward. I'm a former vet myself, so that decision's never an easy one, is what I'm getting at.
No, I was also a son, a product of the military. I was a military brat. I grew up overseas.
Yeah.
Actually met my wife in middle school when my parents and her parents were stationed at Clark Air Base in the Philippines.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah. So
did you catch that? Say that one more time.
So my wife and I met when I was 13 and she was 12.
How
overseas
cute is that?
in the Philippines.
Right.
My father was stationed in the Philippines.
They didn't get married back then. But.
No.
Yeah, we had a 14-year gap.
Yeah.
But the point is that we were military brats.
Yeah.
And so I've been in the military world my whole life. And when I spent my 14 years, I'm really focused on my family.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you're getting deployed repetitively.
True. Yeah.
My kids, when I went to Iraq both times, my kids were tiny, 4, 6, and it was really hard on my family. And we also were running businesses as well. So my wife was straddled with all of that. The responsibility of being a single mom is enough.
Sure.
And then you add to that the burden of your husband being overseas, and then the burden of the business. And I didn't want to put them through that anymore.
Yeah.
And after 14 years on active duty, I felt like there wasn't one patient that I would send downtown. There wasn't one patient I would turf to another hospital. I literally, every beneficiary who needed surgery, I took everybody. I did everyone I could, and then I even did my junior partners patients as well, because I felt like, and this is kind of in keeping with everything in my life, my wife and I are very faith focused. Our life is focused on faith, and we know that our purpose here, everyone, I truly believe that every single person is born with a distinct purpose.
Yes.
And also with innate greatness. And so it's important for me to get my kids to realize that we're not here just to make it through. We're not here to just, try and to be good. We're actually here, we're made to be great. We're here to be excellent. And you can't accomplish that without pushing yourself to the limits.
Yeah.
And whether you're a fitness athlete like Monica, clearly she's one of the elite. She's made a name for herself, but that didn't come easy. Nothing in this world worth accomplishing comes with an easy pathway. It all takes struggle and effort, and there are going to be roadblocks and failures, and you have to be able to pick yourself up, and you have to be able to drive through it and know that when things are falling apart, that God's behind you.
Yeah.
If God is your focus, you're never going to fail in the end. You may have temporary setbacks, but ultimately those setbacks and those failures will strengthen you and make you even better. So I try to impart that to my children. My wife does too. And our kids have met. I'm so proud of my kids. I'm going to cry talking about my kids. But
tell them about your kids, because you also have the beautiful adopted daughter, and their kids are just amazing.
Oh, wow.
They're brilliant, respectful, they're fun to talk to.
I've known him now for 10 minutes. I have no doubt. Yeah, I have no doubt.
His little boy Colton, he's just...
They're all pretty amazing. We've been really blessed.
Well, it just sounds like then really that it really was a tough decision. I doubt it was an easy decision to leave all the brotherhood of the military and the sisterhood of the military.
Yeah, trust me, my heart. I have so much respect for the military, and all the people that I took care of when we were in Iraq. The injuries in Iraq were
horrific.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
They were horrific, worse than any level 1 trauma center you'd ever imagine in America. The things that our troops went through to defend another country, not even our own. It's a lot of my friends I've talked to even recently didn't realize that when you're in the military, you don't really have a choice.
That's right.
You go when they say, you do what they say, you are what they say. The needs of the military, whatever branch you're in, come first.
That's right.
And that self-sacrifice, it's really hard for the average person to understand.
Truly.
And a lot of times it comes at the expense of your family, your relationships, your health, and sometimes your life.
Yeah.
And so that my love will always be with our fellow military veterans and active duty members. I can't even say enough about how much I respect that community.
Are you still pretty active in that community as well?
We do a lot to support. We did a lot with Wounded Warriors, and one of the things that we always do, in addition to having our businesses, is we have all of our kids, and we are always focused on nonprofits. Yeah. So my daughter, who is 20, she's at UCLA. She's a straight A student at UCLA. She's unbelievable. Was Miss Houston teen. Yeah. She's the sweetest, smartest, most dedicated.
100%.
Yeah, and that's how we met, because I was having her train with Monica, so that she could work out in the Miss America pageant.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got to come to their house, and they lived about 10 minutes from me, so it's so simple. And I got to come and train with Alexa while she was getting ready for her pageants, which I'll let you share about. But she was so cute because she would try to just keep talking to me and see if I would let her kind of skate through the workout. I'm like, I know what you're doing. And I would just keep pushing her, making her, and she'd be like, oh, you're not so pushover. Like, you're going to train, girl.
That's awesome.
I'm here to train you, but you keep talking, but we'll keep training.
Yeah. How do you divide your time between both practices now? I understand it's got to just be a logistical nightmare at times to try to be.
You would never know it with this man, though.
I mean, at this point, that's probably the wrong thing to say, because I have no doubt you're managing it well. But
life is about balance, So whether it's your family life or your business or businesses, I think that as long as you sleep less than everybody else, you're going to be all right.
Is that
So what I do right now with the balance of my practice is 4 days a week I do spine, 1 day a week I do cosmetic surgery. Yeah. One of those days may be a clinic day where I do a combination of spine and cosmetic clinic. But I have a lot of support. I have mid-level providers, PAs, nurse practitioners who help see patients. And I have, of course, my wife and our entire staff in 2 cities, because we have a practice in San Antonio, but also in Houston. We live physically in Houston now, but our foundation began in San Antonio because I was at Wilford Hall, and we lived there until 2018 full-time. So I go back and forth between both cities.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I have amazing support staff that allow me to do that. And then every single minute of my free time I devote to my family, because every other minute is devoted to my work, so I never want to neglect my family. I don't want to be that guy. So I always make sure that all my free time is spent with my kids. And like I said earlier, I have a 20-year-old daughter who's amazing, brilliant, beautiful, inside and out. And then I have a son who's giant. He's like 6'3". He's 17. He's getting bigger and bigger.
What's he play? What's the sport?
Well, he was a basketball player now, but now he's a brilliant guy. He just got accepted to Vanderbilt, the number 13 university in the country.
Yeah.
We're super proud of him. He's a business guy.
Okay.
From the time he was 9 years old, he started his own business.
Yeah.
Like Monica said, he had an exclusive sneaker company, and then he went into memorabilia, sports card sales.
Nice.
And then now he's in the stocks. I mean, he's just a brilliant business guy.
Wow.
Even at a young age.
Every child.
That's amazing.
Brilliant, every one of them.
And then my 12-year-old, like Monica alluded to earlier, he's a sport karate guy.
Okay.
And he's won championship after championship. He's
the wild child, I'm guessing, a little bit.
Crazy, creative. He's the guy who's more focused on his mind and his muscle.
Love it.
I think he's going to be, competing one day.
It sounds
possibly.
like each one of them have a little bit of their father and mother in them, huh?
Oh yeah, they're very much a little bit of each of us for sure.
Well, and Colton has a little bit of I want to go against the grain. So he just did an essay, which I was so excited to hear about. He had chosen to do an essay about that God is not dead.
Yeah. Wow.
For his school.
Yeah.
And it was a very well written essay. I saw it and I was just like, I got choked up reading it. Leanne emailed it to me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It was so cool.
Yeah.
He wanted to prove to his professor
from a young mind to be able to think that deeply as well.
What he says is instilled in his children. It's like, it's just all part of his lifestyle. Just like his fitness. Like, this guy looks like he should be on stage right now.
I was looking.
He looks at this year round.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, no.
You don't buy these kind of shirts if you don't have a little muscle underneath them. That's for sure.
Round, so this guy looks like he could step on stage, a stage somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe
I'm sure.
Not Olympia stage at this point.
Health has got to be a part of everything he does.
He keeps himself and whatever he shares with his family, he does.
Yeah.
It's just so. I have a question for, and we're gonna have to wrap up in a minute. I want to talk about your book, and then I want you to give Joe some insight on, he's got a 4-year-old son. Maybe you've now been raising these 2 boys and your daughter, and you've got another little girl that's coming up. So maybe just like a fatherly advice,
Yes,
like the best
I will take it from this guy
advice,
for
right?
sure. Yeah, about your book though.
Yeah, let's talk about Cutthroat.
Being an author, was that always something you wanted to do? And tell us about Cutthroat.
Spare time again.
Yeah, I guess.
He's
right.
doing operating and he's dictating over here.
Yeah.
So make sure.
Well, before everybody wakes up, I work on stuff like this and comic books. You know, like I said, I had an educational
Before
comic
people
book
wake up.
to teach kids about STEM. But this book was
He doesn't
actually
sleep.
this book was an idea that came to me because I just felt like the public needed to know what's happening in medicine. When doctors with good intentions are struggling to take good care of patients, and patients are unhappy with the care in America. If you look at America, we have a 79% dissatisfaction rate amongst patients.
Sure.
And if you look at medicine, doctors are making 50% now of what they made in the 90s. The insurance companies, on the other hand, are making 1,750% more than when Obamacare was initiated. The average family is paying 300% more than they did before Obamacare. And I just felt like people needed to know what was the truth. Because there's this deception and this myth that doctors are the reason medicine costs so much, and doctors are the reason that patients are having multiple treatments and failures. And a lot of it comes from the push for doctors to do less.
Yes.
Because that means more money in the troves,
yes.
You know, the treasure troves of the insurance carriers. And so denying your care is the way they make money.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because for me, I'm focused on health and fitness. And that's the reason I stay in shape, because I want to at least look the part. I can't tell somebody to take care of their back when I don't take care of mine.
Yeah.
I can't tell somebody to eat healthy when I don't eat healthy. You know, I want to be an example for my patients as well. But the book came about because I want the world to know and the public to know that doctors are in a fight, a fight for their life, a fight literally for their health.
Right.
And we are losing because we've lost control of medicine. And I was hoping that with this book and making this expose come to light, that people in the world, and patients, all of us are patients, all of us have family members who are patients, and so this impacts every single person in America. All of us were aware of what's happening so that we could raise our voices and maybe put a stop to what's happening.
I love it. How long has it been published now?
It came out in May.
Did it? How's it doing?
It's doing well. I mean, it's doing what we intended it to do. Could it get to more people? Yeah, it needs to get to everybody in America.
Sure,
it
takes
really
some time. It takes some time. Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Right? I mean, it goes on and on with this man.
Yeah, I know.
And then just real quickly about your son, you know, what I would say, I have 4. The only person I haven't mentioned is my daughter, my beautiful little 7-year-old girl.
Yeah.
We adopted her, and she was.
Again, it goes on. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, my wife had a heart for adoption, and we're older. We're an older couple. Back then, we were older. We were probably 41-ish at the time. I'm 51 now. My wife is 50. But at the time, we had our name in an adoption agency, and nothing ever came about after a year and a half of waiting. And as God would have it, that wasn't the plan. The plan was, one day I was turning our garage into a haunted house for my daughter's 7th grade class, my 21-year-old almost.
Yeah.
And I needed someone to help me. And the person who came to help me was our nanny's cousin and her husband. And they were planning not to keep their baby. They had just found out that they were pregnant, and they had 2 young kids they couldn't afford, and they definitely couldn't afford a third. So they were planning an abortion the following Monday. This was on a Wednesday. And when I found out and my nanny found out, we appealed to her to consider letting us adopt the baby. And as God would have it, she did. We followed her through the pregnancy. She delivered the baby. We've had her ever since. She's been amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's a blessing. She's got the cutest, deepest dimples in the world, and she's been a light to our lives. She's the sweetest little girl in the world. And so what I would say about parenthood is, you know, I think parenthood is about being a role model. You have to live by example.
Yeah.
You have to preach by example and live by example. They have to see it in action, love their mom, treat their mom like she's the most important person in the world, because she is.
Yeah.
And she should be your most important person in the world. It says in the Bible to treat your wife like Jesus treated the church, and the church is everything. So for me, my life is devoted to my wife, which means I'm going to take care of her. And then secondarily, I'm going to make sure my kids have a role model, you know, outside of God, that they can see physically doing things that they're supposed to be doing. And I'm constantly sending them Bible verses and talking to them about what God's, you know, plan is for their lives. And, you know, we don't really know. I mean, each of them are different, and we're watching. We're letting them show us who they are. You know, what we've done for every kid, because they're all very different, is we've seen what they've been drawn to, what what's their passion. My son, my 12-year-old, who's the karate expert, was kicking all over the house without any training.
Yeah.
And my other son wanted to start an exclusive sneaker business. And my other daughter has just been a diligent student from day one.
Yeah.
And my 7-year-old is she's in elite, cheer.
Yeah.
So I mean, they all are different. And she's the bubbly one. My 12-year-old is the creative one. My 17-year-old is the academic business one.
Yeah.
And my daughter is everything. She's like well-rounded, 50-50, right, left brain. But we're seeing what God has made them to be, and
Absolutely.
we're trying to mold them into
by design for sure.
that,
Proud father, I can tell.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, man. It's awesome.
Beautiful daughter right here, Alexa.
Enjoying Vegas with the family. Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. I know, man. We could just keep talking. It's so fun to hear Dr. Cyr
It's
and all
awesome.
the things.
Yeah.
So.
Mean a lot of
Thank
great
you so
people.
much. I really pray that this Olympia is an awesome trip for you and your family.
Very cool, yeah.
It's their first time to come to the Olympia.
Yeah, it's great.
We get to have them here, so it's what a wonderful opportunity right before Christmas to spend time together and do
for
something
sure.
we all love. They're all excited about coming.
Sure.
It makes us want to work out more, for sure.
Oh, we all do. I know. That's true. Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Ken.
thank you. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll
Thanks,
see you
All right.
back in Texas.
Yep.
Texas.
3 to 4. Okay, you're catching up. Okay, fair enough.
All right, guys.
Thanks, see you.
We'll see you guys right back. Don't go anywhere.
Thank you.